John Cabot was sponsored by England. John Cabot tried to find a shorter sea route to Asia.
He thought he found a shorter route to Asia, but he ended up finding Canada.
John Cabot led finds to North and South America. He found a fishing spot that fed lots of people.
On his second voyage, he was never seen again, and nobody knows what happened to him or where he went.
Juan Ponce de Leon was sponsored by the country of Spain. Juan Ponce de Leon wanted to find the fountain of youth. Juan Ponce de Leon also wanted to find gold.
Discovered. Juan Ponce de Leon discovered Florida. He also sailed to Cuba.
More facts. Juan Ponce de Leon sailed on Christopher Columbus' second voyage.
Juan Ponce de Leon was the governor of Puerto Rico.
He was also a soldier.
Juan Ponce de Leon helped fight the Muslims.
Juan Ponce de Leon died because of Native Americans who shot arrows and wounded him.
We did our project on Vasco Nunez de Balboa. Vasco Balboa was a Spanish explorer who was very fascinated by Christopher Columbus. Like Columbus, he dreamed of sailing the New World. Unlike Columbus, who wanted to find a water route to Asia, Balboa was more interested in finding gold so that he could become wealthy. When he arrived at Santo Domingo, which is in South America, he attempted to make a living as a farmer, but it didn't turn out so good.
Vasco's sponsor was Spain. Balboa's motivation was to find gold and riches. He also dreamed of sailing to the New World.
In 1510, Vasco Nunez de Balboa had established a small colony called Panda Moths. Indians told him that there was an immense ocean nearby. It took about 3 years to get to the ocean. After that, he encountered the Great South Sea, or the Pacific Ocean. The Pacific Ocean was the obstacle he faced then.
Vasco discovered the Pacific Ocean. He also became rich and claimed the Pacific Ocean and all that touched it for Spain. He was the first European to sail to the Pacific Ocean. He was accused for treason by his enemies and was beheaded, which means to get your head chopped off.
We are doing Christopher Columbus sponsor. At first, Christopher Columbus went to Portugal, but the king said no. Then he went to Spain. After 6 years, King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella of Spain finally agreed.
His motivation. He wanted to find a western sea route to Asia. He sailed there to also find riches like gold and silk and claim land for Spain.
Discovered. Christopher discovered the Americas, also known as the United States. He also discovered islands named Hispaniola, also known as Haiti, Cuba, and San Salvador.
Soon after arriving, the Santa Maria was damaged and he was forced to end his exploration and return to Spain.
Our explorer is Henry Hudson.
Henry Hudson was an English explorer in 1607. Henry was asked by the English Muscovy to lead the ship Hopewell on an expedition of the North European continent.
He sailed farther north than anyone. He also has 3 waterways named after him: the Hudson River, the Hudson Strait, and the Hudson Bay.
On his first voyage, Henry Hudson had reached Greenland, but he was blocked by ice. A year later, on his second voyage, he got as far as the Arctic Ocean. The merchants of the Dutch East India Company were still convinced that there might be a separate passage to the northeast.
One day his crew turned against him. They put him in a small boat and he was never heard from again.
Jacques Cartier was sponsored by France's king, King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella.
Jacques Cartier set out on an expedition to find the Northwest Passage. He thought the river would lead him to Asia, but it led him to Newfoundland. In fact, upon his travels, Jacques Cartier discovered the Newfound St. Lawrence River and the Gaspé Peninsula.
5 years later, he made a third trip. On the third voyage, Cartier's men built a settlement near what is now known as Quebec City in Canada. Cartier's exploration.